Hey, what is up everybody, Blades for here, and today for you guys in the video of Persona 5X. Inside today's video, guys, we are actually going to be talking about Messa's best teammates here. And this is really going to come in handy because the man actually drops later on tonight in about, yes, 8 hours and 22 freaking minutes. So it's going to be a freaking blast to see exactly what he's going to be capable of. And I think you guys might want to actually know about these characters in general. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get straight into the video. All right, so Messa once again is a physical DPS here who can very well so bleed and does deal a decent bit of DOT damage while also dealing some damage himself. This man has a lot of things that are freaking amazing about him. If you guys really want to go into detail and know more about that, check out the last video I recently did, which is what to know about this character. But the thing that we're going to be going over here is his actual best teammates here. And this is an interesting type of factor here because when it does come down to Messa, there are a few things that you definitely want to do, or at least want to have. There are also some budget options. There are some things that are going to be very useful just in case you don't have other characters. So I felt like this would be the perfect time to come out with it. So we're going to go over the main characters who are most likely going to be kind of your main go-tos here for any of your teams. The reason being for these characters here is because they are literally like the best characters you can technically have for this guy, and you really want to actually use these the most. So first things first here for you guys is when it comes down to his best in slot characters, you guys already know how this is going to go, and that is going to be S. Moko. Now S. Moko is one of those few characters that quite literally a lot of us did not pull for here, and the reason that she is so good is not only she can provide those heals that we do very well so need, but the EHR buffs, the attack buffs here is all really nice in general to actually have for her. The only thing that she does kind of let down on is a little bit of the damage, but her follow-up damage actually does kind of add up as you are going through it, and it does kind of help out with the bleed procs that he can have as well, allowing you to not only get just the bleed damage with just DOT, but also some of that follow-up damage when she does proc this. With her ultimate here, she does at least take down some of the damage that she ends up taking here, which is fairly decent. It's not like anything too crazy, but it does make her fairly useful. Alongside, at least, she's just in general a really good character to have for this man. It's pretty easy to actually build her as well. You don't really need to break your back when it comes down to building this character, but in case you did need at least something a little bit better, you could kind of be a little bit picky with some of her build being at least with her cards. At least this character, at least to build her up, is going to have at least damage bonus, and I keep saying that, damage bonus, crit rate, crit damage, HP, speed, attack, you name it. She can run pretty much all of it here, and it does make her very useful. The good part about this character is if you do have her here, you did not have to actually invest into her 5-star weapon. You can very well so use her 4-star weapon, in which I don't know what the heck happened to it. I could have swore I had it, but you can very well also invest into her 4-star weapon, which is also really good, and not those ones that I clicked on just then. Should be like a wand shaped star here, and that's going to be really good for her in general because it helps out the attack, which is going to be very useful when it comes down to buffing her at least allies. This is definitely going to be Messa's main character here that you really want to have. If you don't have her, don't worry, there are some other healers that actually are really good to keep as well, so we're going to go ahead and go over them since we are in the healer category. Since we're here, this first other character that you guys do have an option, or at least a budget option, of using instead of Moko, you want to go ahead and break out Marion. Now Marion is one of these characters that is universal in so many different teams here. If you don't have Moko, she is literally your next best option, especially when it does come down to at least the healing type of deals. She of course provides some amazing heals, probably the best heals in the game that we have currently, but as well provides a damage bonus with penetration once you do have at least a 1 here. This character pretty much follows up off of at least overhealing. That's how much heal she gives. When you overheal so much with this character, she's actually able to give you a little percentage of penetration here, which is 20% for 2 whole turns. This is actually kind of insane, especially when it just comes down to a person who wants damage, just raw straight damage. It's really good. For Messa himself, since you really do just deal damage with this character and he's not fully on DOT, she kind of synergizes pretty darn well. With this in mind as well, you want to be able to use that damage penetration as much as possible every 2 rounds to make sure you are getting the most out of her build. If you don't do this and you sort of kind of slack on it, it's going to make it a lot worse. The only downside with Marion as well is because 1, you want her A1, but 2, you also need her 5-star weapon. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Her 4-star is okay, but it's mainly for healing bonus, and to be honest, you want that main weapon because it gives you that HP, which is 30% here, as well as the healing bonus, and helps out her overall kit. So in general, you really want to get this 5-star weapon, which can kind of hinder her usage sometimes, as well as the investment of getting A1 can hinder her usage. But at this point in time, we've already had her come here as a standard. She's been on the standard banner for a while, and she recently reran. So I feel like a lot of people might actually have this already in the bag and are pretty much happy with what they have for this. But she is a really useful sub character that you could possibly be using for him, so surely do keep that in mind. Now lastly, the bottom of the barrel, when it does come down to an option here, let's say you are a new player, this is probably your best bet. Cattle is always going to be very useful here because of course you can get yourself heals and then attack buffs. Now I know some people are like, why don't you at least go ahead and go for Morgana? The reason that we don't go for Morgana is his heals are pretty decent, but he is lacking the extra buff side of things. Luckily with Cattle, of course, you're getting some meh type heals here, and he is a really budget option, but you are also getting yourself some attack buffs that you truly do need. So at least having Cattle in the back pocket and actually being able to utilize him will be very helpful for you instead of actually using Morgana. So if you truly don't have Smoko or Marion, this is probably your best bet in the healer terms if you guys are looking for different things of that nature. Cattle himself isn't the worst of characters, to be honest. There are worse, cough cough, this thing existing, but there still is a good option for him, and he does have a little bit of a place if you are looking for a very budget option here. But when that comes down to the healers, that is all we're going to be going over. So let's go ahead and go over the supporters or buffers above the team. So the first buffer that we're going to go ahead and look at is the girl herself, and that is Cord. Now Cord is crazy cracked. Okay, we all know this. When she came out, she was absolutely busted. She freaking provides attack buffs. She helps you with highlight spamming. She helps with just in general with her 3. Since you're going to be highlight spamming here, you're going to use that on Messa, you can bleed even quicker. Like, there's going to be everything that this character is useful for. This character in general absolutely utilizes the best for Messa himself, especially if you're looking for any type of buffs, if you're looking for any type of spam in this highlight, aka if you are having him A0, this is going to be your best bet. Because with Messa in mind, Messa is really good at A0, but he really gets a lot more of his usage once he is A3. A3 allows him to at least spam a little bit more when it comes down to his bleeds here, and it can make him a little bit more at least popular. Reason being is because his A3 allows him to increase his laceration skill damage, and alongside of this here, based on the damage, he is able to restore a certain amount of at least HP. So that's really also nice with this. With this in mind as well, this allows you to proc those bleeds. If you have Cord on this team, you can spam his highlight as much as possible, allowing those bleeds to proc, meaning your A3 is going to be even more useful. If you have him at A0, of course, with Cord here, you're going to make up for a lot of that damage that you're lacking. So instead of him being a DOT type unit, you can kind of make a makeshift A3 at A0 with Cord, just allowing you to spam as much of that highlight as possible, get those bleed stacks off, and deal that big boy damage thanks to at least the attack buffs. Pretty much her whole deal is just rinse and repeat. Okay, you got yourself a nice old buff, boom, that's already good. Then you go ahead and build that highlight, awesome. Get yourself another attack buff, well then I got another one for you. Get the highlight, we get the spam, and just do it over and over again, pretty much just allowing you to do double ultimates whenever it is Messa's turn for actually getting his highlight. Yeah, she's the best that you can get for an absolute supporter. But I do understand this character came out at a rough time being with Makoto, so of course if you do not have her, there are other options, at least for the supporter line of thought here. So the other option that we're going to be going over is the girl herself, the curious one, Riddle. Now Riddle is actually a very good character. She's a very good budget option when it does come down to Cord, and if anything, the only budget option, if I'm being honest here. This character not only provides at least the attack buffs that we do need, but also provides a decent damage bonus boost, which can really help out any character who is pretty much a DPS. By using her skill 1 and then pairing it with the skill 3, you're actually able to boost up that attack as much as possible, and the effect hit rate as well when you use the skill 3 here, and that's really going to help you out, especially when it comes down to the damage that she does need. Now you could use her second skill, which does help out in the, if I'm right, it was the HP and defense category. Still a good buff, but I mean, like, you're not really going to be utilizing the skill 2 too much. You really want to be utilizing that skill 3 and actually getting the most for your buck. So each time you're going to rotate with just her first skill, third skill, first skill, third skill, maybe her highlight every now and again. And the main reason for the highlight is just because she's able to actually increase our damage as well, which is always freaking nice. You never want to really go wrong with that. Mainly it's just going to be the 1-3-1-3 highlight. Quite literally is if you just need to deal some more damage there, because all that her highlight does is increase your damage dealt. So if you do have that highlight in the bag, you're already looking good. If you actually do have her 5-star weapon, unfortunately I do not, you're actually increasing your attack even more so. And then also when consuming said stacks that she's able to get from at least her skill 1 and skill 3, then she's able to increase your attack even more so if you do have a certain amount of whimsical thoughts, which can really be helpful for her character in general. This character also, you don't need to have highly invested as well. Mine is like crazy invested into, nearly pretty much done here, but this character you don't need any high investments. She's actually really good to be used at any A's at all or any awarenesses whatsoever. So she's pretty much the best buffer that you can get if you do not have at least cord in your back pocket. But with those in mind, of course, what are some characters who are good navigators for her team? Some good navigators now. So we already have Messa, we would have a supporter here, and then you want to have, of course, a healer most likely with you. But what's a good stinking Navi that's going to be here for you? Now, if we're being honest, right? The main Navi that's really good here is going to be Phoebe. Phoebe for any team is absolutely insane. She's cracked, she's busted. She has never been not busted so far, and quite literally is the best character when it comes down to navigators in the game. Without a doubt, she helps with attack boosting, damage boosting, can give you HP sharing, which is nice, especially with the card set that she does end up having, and she is insane. If you guys don't know exactly how to build this character here, I will probably come out with a build guide for her very soon. I wanted to wait till I got her, but as you can see, we got the whole box up and she's not here. But the character in general is really good. She in general, all of her character skills are really nice. If you do have at least her chalices all the way to a supreme version, she's able to give you a giant boost in general for at least your attack and damage boosting. So she's pretty much the best navigator you can get, and there's no better way of explaining this. Now, of course, if you do not have her available, you could go with at least my go-to, which is mainly just Okeon here. Okeon is absolutely insane, really good for a 4-star navigator as well, and probably the best when it comes down to attacking. Now, I will say this. If you are doing certain things and you don't just care about the boost in attack and EHR, you could go ahead and go with Rico. Rico is just good in general, but if we want to actually boost specifically things for Messa, you need to be going for at least Okeon. Okeon herself quite literally boosts EHR. She boosts attack here. Not to mention, with her skill 3, she has a chance to actually proc a winded status, which can help in that down, at least that defense down there, meaning Messa can deal more damage as well. These buffs are going to be absolutely insane for him, so it's pretty much going to make him immediately usable, especially if you are using teams like this. So how your team should pretty much look here, let's go ahead and just place everything on down, and let's get it like this. Let's put Ryuji here as Messa. So it's most likely going to be Messa, and the premium team is most likely going to be Messa here, Cord, and Smoko. That's going to be your premium team. And then let's say we have Phoebe. Let's put Papa here as Phoebe, right? Both have P in their name anyways. So it would be Messa, Cord, Moko, and Phoebe. That easy here when it does come down to this here, and that will be your most best team that you can use. Alongside with the dagger that's going to be for him is going to be actually Wonder's new dagger, which is going to take advantage over the physical damage side of things, meaning Yoshitsune most likely will be in your team and is going to be mostly your main and best persona with that best dagger. That's going to be your main team here. Now let's say, of course, you don't have Cord. it will end up being something like this here, in which you would use a version of this, keeping Moko in the team because Moko still is giving you those attack and EHR buffs. But if you're going for a really budget option and you don't have A1, your really budget option would look something like this. This would be your actual budget option here. This is how this would look. And let's say you don't have a healer, or at least no, let's say you have a healer being at least Marion. It would look something like this, but do remember you do want to have that A1 to really take advantage. Now, if you do have Cord, of course, once again, we will go with the budget option of just Marion or Cattle, and this would be your main deals. Of course, if we do have Phoebe, swap it on up and you will use something like that. But all in all, hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. It was actually very interesting to actually do this one here. I went more into detail. I know some of you guys really did need that as well. So hopefully you enjoy it. Hopefully it's very useful, and good luck to all my people summoning later on tonight. We're going to be streaming as always here, and hopefully we get lucky as well. But till next time, everybody, stay safe, stay sharp. Peace out.